Well, hey, welcome back to Over the Top. It's your boy, the Sauce Boss, and I'm here with our special guest host today. Um, no, our special guest, the handler of Samantha Vox, the Fed head of Kingdom Come Wrestling. It is the one and only Jay. Jay, I don't have a last name. It's just Jay. Jay, welcome to the show. Thanks for coming back for another little bout.
Yeah, once again, thanks for having me on. Like, it's already been an experience, and it's gonna be a lot of fun going into these other topics.
Yeah, so the concept for today is I want to run with some EFED news. And I'm going to try to avoid hitting any icebergs along the way. You're going to be my co pilot here and make sure I don't say anything stupid. I'll do the same for you here. But it's been really exciting week. A lot is going on. And for the folks who don't follow on Twitter, I want to catch you up here. So I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about the EFED world in the last 7 to 10 days here. So I think we should just jump right into it and just let it go. I don't know if I want to keep Twitter going here or yeah. I'll leave it up in case we need to grab anything. Okay, so I think topic number one, the biggest news of the week, and we're filming this on a Sunday night. Sunday night is the same night that a lot of results come out, and that's including the Denzel Porter Invitational event. Jay, are you involved on that card in any way?
I am not involved in the card. I didn't get in time, uh, but the card is stacked. Like night one, night two, night three, it's all stacked. Like when I saw the card, I was like, man, I really wish I was part of this.
These super shows, they fill up quick. I was able to get a match with our good friend Lexi Gold here in the chat, and we worked in some storylines. I was very happy with how it turned out. There were some very competitive matches, and I know some people are a little butthurt about the results, which is inevitable, right? That's always going to happen when you've got 25 matches. People are going to be unhappy about some things. So I think just the feat, the amount of work it takes to do a 3 day show is unfathomable for me. You run a Fed, Jay. You run Kingdom Come. How many matches per card do you have?
Well, with the small roster we have, we run 3 or 4 matches. But when I was running Revolution 1, some pay per views would have upwards of 11, 12, 13 matches.
Wow.
And luckily at that point, I had a really good staff. I had two really great commissioners that helped me out. They helped with the match writing, and things went up on time for the most part. We were late a couple times and it upset people. But, when you're working with a card that has 25 matches on it, like for me, like right now, that's 3 or 4 cards for me. So, like, that's 3 or 4 shows, and they're doing it, 3 nights, but it's one big show.
Yeah, I mean they've got let's see, 6, 7 matches, 7 matches per. I mean it's wild what they've got here. I wouldn't want to put this thing together. I have one match here. I'm ready the 5 star match here for the TIA Women's Championship. Those results are going to come out tonight. That's a big deal for me because I wrote the match, I judged the card. It's a big deal, but it is a tiny fraction of the overall show. Those results are coming out. They're hosted on the XWF channel, so if you get it on the XWF site, if you get a chance, certainly go over there, check out those forums, and let Denzel know that you love the show, that it was great work. My estimation is that the DPI is the best super show. Denzel has the greatest reputation. The expectation for quality is unmatched, and the people who show up for it are top shelf. They're top shelf. So, the follow up story to the Denzel Porter Invitational is Denzel wanting to take some time off afterwards. Have you heard this story?
Yeah, I have. And, we all need a refresh. We all need to take a break. We need to breathe. Especially, I mean, he's putting this big show together, and I know that he had it planned before the show came out, and some stuff went down. But Denzel is one of those people that, to me, he is one of the few shining lights in this hobby.
Yeah.
Denzel doesn't say, "Oh, this is the best Fed." He's like, "Oh, go check this Fed out there, great. Go check this Fed out there, great. Go check this Fed out there, great." I've never seen Denzel say a bad word about anybody, and that's why I respect that man as much as I do.
He's one of a kind. For as many opportunities as he's had to have a hot take on something or to take a side, he refuses to do so. He remains neutral in all things. So it's really difficult to do that. And the reputation he's built because of that is unsurpassed. For him to leave is I don't know if tragedy is the right word, but it's a real shame because Denzel is selfless, right? Just puts everybody else before him, does the breaking news segments, promotes other people's stuff, puts together the super show. Denzel doesn't wrestle, so it's too bad. And I'm hoping that it's just a spur of the moment thing, an impulsive reaction to a bad situation. But we don't want Denzel to go anywhere.
I remember the last time Denzel went somewhere. I can't remember how long it was. It might have been a month. I think he was gone, and I saw such a downswing in morale overall in the community.
Yeah.
Um, so if I hope Denzel gets to hear this, because he is somebody we need in this community, especially right now with the way some things have gone. We definitely need somebody like Denzel here to be like, hey, this hobby's still positive. This hobby's still for you and you and you and you and everybody.
So I believe that he's one of these folks like you and I, where I don't think that we can actually unplug from EFEDing completely. I could see him shutting down this character for a little while and running an alt character just to relieve himself of the pressure and the stress. He's probably got a couple other characters that nobody knows he's handling right now, and he'll put his energy into that. I don't know. Denzel doesn't listen to our show, but if you're able to reach out to him, just check out, see how he's doing, and see if there's anything you can do for him because he deserves a lot more credit, you know. So that's Denzel. Don't want to see him go anywhere. But while we're on the same topic of people leaving, there are two other names on this list that are retiring or have left already. The first name is Justin York. And this is unconfirmed, right? Justin is just kind of evaporated. There was this tournament that Justin was going to run, 16 or 32 people in the Justin York All-In tournament. He was very gung-ho about this, and something that a lot of folks were looking forward to. I don't know if it's still going to happen. So any news on Justin York, if anybody's seen him, check up on him, see how he's doing. Jay,
That's something that
do
I was
you
just gonna say
know?
that's something I was planning on doing because I actually was signed up for said tournament. I actually got to role play against Justin York in OCW once, and the guy's a straight up dude. He's a great writer. And I know during the World Series he had some personal stuff happen and he had to bow out. But I really hope he's okay. I really hope he's in good spirits. And it is somebody that we do need to reach out to, just like Denzel. I mean, Justin York is a class act.
I've never had any issue with Justin, and I'm not going to sit here and speculate about what's going on with him, or I'm not going to judge any decisions that he's made. I hope he comes back. That's it. So if you know Justin, if you know him intimately, or not, maybe not intimately, but outside of the game, hopefully he's doing well, and would love to see him come back. He'll be back at some point, right? Hopefully it's sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
So
that's what we can
Justin,
hope for.
yeah. So with Justin, it seems like he just kind of quietly exited, had some things go on, and just kind of phased out. At least the Twitter's been quiet for a while. So you respect, give him space, and all that. On the other hand, the other side of this, well, maybe not the opposite of that, but we've got Serena Riot, who is planning her retirement card. She's doing a super show because she wants to go out on her own terms and turn it into a party, which I certainly respect that. So I see the comment today.
Definitely.
She made a tough decision to bump someone off the card. There's a spot open on that card. If you're listening to that show, you want to be on a super show. Here's your spot. Here's your chance. So reach out to Serena and see if you can get on that super show. I don't know what the card looks like right now, and I haven't seen it on Twitter recently.
All I know is my match. Like I'm in a tag match, and it's me and Molly Hatchet teaming up. But
Oh,
if only
nice.
I would have thought about it and signed Samantha Vox up. I actually signed Brooke Blakely up as like a fan. She was a fan of Serena Riot, and
Yep.
now she's fangirling over teaming with Molly Hatchet. So, but it's the good thing is it's all for fun. Like there's like I could say this after speaking with Serena. It's all Twitter hype. It's all big party. It's all angled, it's all for fun. So it's definitely something that if you want your character out there, give it Serena because it's gonna be a lot of fun to hype up for the next few weeks because I think it's like April 28th is the show. So we got like a whole month or 2 months really to hype it up.
Do you know where it's being hosted?
I don't know right offhand. I'd have to go look at Twitter.
Yeah, I haven't been able to find it, but if anybody knows, add it in the comments on the video below so we can steer some traffic over that way. We'd love to get some eyes on that show. Serena's been great to me in the past. Participated early on with the World Series of Wrestling. Also helped me with some stuff over at the Champions Advantage Performance Center when I was getting started. So I appreciate the work Serena's done. I love the anti diva pick base, with Rosemary, just a little bit different from your typical, Barbie. Um, well, they're not all Barbies, but she's a little bit more edgy, which I can appreciate. So, Serena, I hope you're doing well. I hope that you're moving on to something better, and that your life is making a change for the best here. So, I Serena Riot's retirement show. There you go. Okay, next up, we've got a Fed who has closed down. So play the trumpets, do the 21 gun salute. Our friends over at the Entity have shut it down this week. They had things going for a couple months here and seem like great folks over there. I don't know who the handler is. It's definitely somebody who role plays regularly, but just like most things, they they wanted to keep it anonymous, and you see why, because now it's closed down, and they have privacy. You don't have people bugging you saying, "Well, why did you do this or that?" Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is the entity closed down, which is sad. It's always a sad day when you see a Fed close down. Jay, did you have any interaction with the entity?
I did for a moment. I actually almost joined there right before I ended up going back to OCW. But it was, it was a straight up place. Like it looked like it was really well run, and for unknown reasons, it's no longer there. And like you said, they kept their privacy. Like when I closed Revo One down, I had my inbox full of stuff. Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? Why'd you do this? As opposed to, is everything okay? So it was one of those things like with the entity staying hidden, that helped. I believe that's going to help them in the long run.
Yeah, yeah, it does. You have to feel for a handler who runs their own Fed because they probably opened it out of necessity. They were somewhere else that closed down, or they were somewhere else and it didn't work out. They're jaded in some way. You know, people tell you if you don't like it, then you make your own thing, and that's what they did here. They created their own thing. Looks like it's once a month, so low commitment, low word count. It was a different product, and they seemed really amped up about it. It was something that I wanted to help promote. We tried to get a super show over there, get them to host it on the boards, and for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. I hope that it was a good time, and that it's an experience that the Fed head appreciates. Sometimes you just have to get that back out of your system so that you can go back to just handling a single character again. So if the handler of the entity hears this, I wish you well, and I hope it was fun while it lasted. It seemed like a really cool niche product. If they had put together a couple more shows, people would have started catching on to the concept. That's always the challenge, and Jay, you know this from experience. The first couple shows, people are very skeptical. They don't want to join a startup. There's no trust there. You haven't proven that you can deliver the results on time and meet the level of quality that's expected. So it's
Yeah,
too bad.
yeah, that's kind of what I've told the handlers of my Fed is, you know, we're a small Fed right now, but that doesn't mean we're gonna stay small. Like we've got to keep cranking out role plays, keep cranking out results, and people will be like, you know what, they've got to figure it out. So yeah, like I really do hope that the handler of the entity is well, and is doing okay, and who knows what the future might hold. Maybe they'll get that itch again.
Yep, they'll be back in one way or another. We may not know it, but they're still hanging around. They're still watching and listening, I'm sure. On the other hand, in other breaking news, we've got a brand new Super Show on the horizon, and if you haven't heard about this, you will soon. From the minds of James Raven and Atara Themis Raven, we've got Ravenstock coming up at the end of April, beginning of May. Jay, have you heard about this show already?
I have not, but that's kind of interesting because I love the Ravens' work. Like James and Atara, they just do great work together, and the way their characters click is going to make for a great show. So hopefully, I might reach out to James soon and be like, "Hey, you got room for me?" and see what I can figure out.
So here's the details. April 29th and 30th at the Panathinaik Stadium in Athens, Greece. I'm probably murdering that word, but I had to ask somebody why Greece, and they explained to me, "Do you know Atara Raven?" And I said, "Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that makes sense."
it's all you needed.
Right. So it is kind of cool. It's the old Greek Colosseum feel. I At this point we can only speculate on what to expect. A lot of people are getting eyes on it because there are 28 retweets on this post. So that's at least 28 handlers who are excited about this thing. It looks like 2 days worth of shows. You're probably talking 8 to 10 matches per night. If you've got two wrestlers per match, that's 20, maybe 40 handlers total who are going to be able to get in on this thing. Those spots are going to fill up quick. I know that. I haven't heard of any matches being announced just yet. But that's certainly exciting.
Just know that Atara, the graphics work's gonna be out of this world for that too.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's the expectation, is that it's going to be a beautiful event, right? James Raven has connections and has a great reputation, so the talent's going to be there too. It's something that a lot of people are going to want to be associated with. I see in the chat here, John Cable says Chris Page versus Sebastian Everett Bryce. That's going to be a hell of a match. Mac Bain versus Jaymont. And I'm sure that there are other matches that have not been announced yet. James is probably going to want to slow release what those matches are to build excitement. He's still got 2 months before this thing happens, so a lot of things can change before then, but James has been busy over at WGWF putting out results So he's, in his groove at this point. He's in his creative flow. You have to expect this
I
is going
mean,
to be a
not
good one.
to mention he's helping with the LFL as well, so that he's doing
Really?
that as
Okay.
well. So that's yeah, him and Vinny Lane are doing the LFL.
Oh, cool, cool.
Mainly Raven. I think Raven's doing a lot of the recaps, I believe.
Aha. All right. I've just been on the outside of that. How involved are you with the LFL and what they have going on over there?
I actually have Jerry Vaden as a player over there, so
Okay. And are they getting pretty close to the end of the season? How far into the season are they now?
we now are. Sorry, we now are 8 weeks in, I believe. 9 weeks. It might be 9 weeks. It's
And
8 or 9 weeks in.
they're doing a full season there.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
see.
they're
I'll
doing a
pull
full
it up
season.
here. So here, there's the ladies football league. Very smart logo here, by the way. I don't know who did it. I'm assuming it's either Atara Raven or Gator, because they are the top graphics people over at XWF. So I haven't been following this. Shame on me. I've been very reluctant to buy into the concept, but I wish them the best of luck. I hope they're having a lot of fun with it. All right, let's jump to the next topic here, and I'm going to tread very lightly on the next couple topics, but uh, I think they're worth mentioning. So we have had a lot of drama in EFEDing in the last 2 weeks, related to a variety of topics, relating to what kind of how do you talk about people who have mental illness? How do you talk about people who have learning disabilities? How do you talk about people who are dealing with suicide? Very sensitive subjects, right? In general, I think it's probably
Yeah,
best to
definitely.
steer clear of all of those things. Um, and Jay, I don't know how much you've chimed in on this stuff, but it's not.
I
It's a lose lose. There's no
It
way
is.
you
It
come
is
out.
because if you defend one side, you're somebody's saying, "Oh, well, you're putting down this then," or
Yeah.
if you defend the other side, you're putting down this then. And like you said, it's a lose lose situation. And most of the time, when there's a drama situation like that, that's what it comes down to. Is it's lose lose. Because somebody could say, "Oh, well, I said this in character," and people were like, "Well, out of character, this is happening,"
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where it it's almost the Chris Benoit debate. That's the way I put it.
Yeah.
Chris
Okay.
Benoit was a great wrestler, terrible person. But where does Chris Benoit, the person and the wrestler, in? Where is that line? And where should we draw it? And just like, with, like you said in the last segment, different good, different people have values of where that line is. And therefore, we're two people who completely agree.
Yep. That's exactly right. You don't know the life experiences that other people have. So, what one person is comfortable with, another person may not be comfortable with. And to assume that everybody is working from the same, point of origin is really risky. So, the easiest thing to do is just to pile on, right? Somebody has a take on something, you go, I'm picking their side, I'm agreeing with them, and now we're going to war, which is so
Yeah,
dangerous
and
to
that's
do.
pretty much what happened. And like, I'll put my own personal experience in. Last year, some things came to light about me writing a very distasteful character. I owned up to it. I messed up, and after one show, I dropped this very distasteful character.
Sure.
Didn't write as them again. So it's one of those things. Like, ever since then, like, that's when I started contemplating the retirement from EFEDing, because I'm like, you know what, my reputation's tarnished because I messed up. But then it became more of, how can I show that that's not me? And I
Sure.
think that's where it comes in, is accountability is where it really comes in. And are you willing to take accountability that, yeah, you know what, maybe that wasn't the right way to put this. Maybe I should have said it this way. And some people are willing to take that accountability. And sometimes people aren't willing to forgive you even with that accountability. And it's one of those things, if they don't, they don't, and that's their prerogative. And I think a lot of times we see it from our perspective as opposed to seeing it from the other perspectives where, you know what, maybe there isn't a right or wrong in this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And I sympathize with you in that situation because as writers, we're experimenting with different concepts and characters. A lot of what we're doing is in character, and not everything's going to work. So when you have a misfire, sometimes it's a really bad take. You took a chance and it didn't come across correctly. In fact, it comes across much worse than you intended it to. And now you're in a situation where you've got to be publicly humiliated and shamed for this mistake. And it can ruin the whole experience. So I don't claim to be a moral. I'm not morally superior. I'm not qualified to judge what's right and wrong. I wish that people would take a little bit more consideration for what other people are going through, and that's on both sides of a topic. If somebody gets more offended than you thought they would, you need to walk it back and go, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that it would be taken that way. If somebody says something that's really terrible, you might want to take a step back and say, you know, maybe they didn't mean for it to come out the way that they're saying it, and then try to engage in a conversation privately over it. In general, I think most people don't want to be abrasive or they don't want to be controversial or mean-spirited, but sometimes it just comes out that way.
Yeah, and sometimes I think we get in the mindset of our characters too much. And I think that's another problem is, where does Jay end and Samantha begin? Like my first EFED character was based off of me just like over dramatized. And that's when I realized I can't do that. Because that's still me. So if I lose, that's me losing. So I walked it back. I was like, I'm getting rid of this character. I'm going to try something new. And maybe that's it. Maybe some people were getting too into their characters. You see it on Twitter all the time. I think some people take things out of character when they're not. Some people think something's in character when it's not. And sometimes we just need to get clarification. Hey, are you in character right now? What's going on? A simple DM would do that. If I see some random person post, Samantha Vox is terrible. That's a character. If they say the handler of Samantha Vox is terrible, that's when I go DM them, hey, what did I do?
Yeah. It's tough because the lines get blurred so often. We're supposed to post, with the OOC if it's not in character, or the double backslash, it's not in character. A lot of people don't do that. They leave that out. So you're not sure. I mean, sometimes it's clearly an out of character remark, but there's no indication that it's out of character. So, they're kind of playing it both ways. They're saying, well, that's just how my character talks, but then also it's them saying it. So it can be very confusing. What I would recommend people do is not get lost in the details, in the words, and try to look at the intentions that people have. Maybe talk about things in a more general way. But that's really hard to do because we're rewarded in this hobby for attacking specific weaknesses of other people. We are writers who are built on burying other characters.
Yeah, and I recently went through a little bit of a mental health issue. I reached out to some individuals in this hobby and told them what was bothering me, and they all were like, well, we see you're not like that, so you've got your circles at least. At least you know that you're doing good. And it's one of those things, like you just said, and I'll put it to you this way. There was a guy a few years ago, and every time people would ask him for help on shoot, his whole answer, in character and out of character, was say mean words. And sometimes I'm starting to see that's not the answer.
Mm-hmm. Well, it all depends on where you go. Kingdom Come is a new Fed with a different vibe. There are other Feds that reward trash talk above everything else. If you can't do good trash talk, and I don't know if I want to say which Feds I'm thinking of, but there are certain Feds that are very popular, and they don't care about your story. They want trash talk. Stories for you, trash talk is for everybody else. So, when they're, I mean, those are tougher Feds because they are going hard at each other and they're rewarding you for it. So, it's just something to think about when you're scouting what your next Fed is going to be. You talk to them about, are you story heavy? Are you a mix of both? Is it trash talk heavy? Find the right spot for
Yeah,
you, and you can save yourself a lot of trouble.
exactly. And it's one of those things like I need to go back and do it, but like when I had Revolution One, I had the rubric posted. Everything was equal. We looked at everything equally. Some feds, like you said, are story heavy. Some are shoot heavy. Some just want you to write for you. And honestly, that's what it's come to now. Is I write for me. I don't write for the wins. I don't write for the losses. I don't write for the reputation. I write for me. And if I don't like it, then I haven't done my job. Because if I don't like it, you're not going to like it. And it's one of those things, DMs are the way to fix these kinds of issues. Like, it's one of those things where a simple DM could have put a lot of this in perspective.
Yeah, no, I agree. Um, okay, so let's go ahead and wrap up the EFED news for the week. Jay, I'll give you the last word here, and then I'll get into my little closing segment. But what else is on your mind? What else you want to bring up?
Basically, I mean, as a community, let's just do better. Let's just come back together. Like when I started this back in 2005, it was click here, click here, click here, click here. And that's, then eventually it expanded to, here's this big Fed, this big Fed, this big Fed, because the clicks came together. Let's get back together. Super shows are the best thing that could have happened to our hobby, I believe. The CCPE versus the World. We had the Denzel Porter, the World Series, Ravens coming up. We got a few of these taken off, and I'm actually in the planning stages of one myself. So
Nice.
it's one of those things. These big events are what's going to come together to make us a community again. That way, it's not just, oh, I'm an XWF guy, or oh, I'm a level up guy, I'm a Kingdom Come guy.
Yeah.
It's I'm an EFED handler. Let's
Amen.
get back to being characters. Let's get back in the day. I had a friend that put it the best I'd ever heard it. We pretend to do what people already pretend to do. Let's get back to pretending to do what people pretend to do.
Amen. That's no, you're saying it right for sure. Well, hey Jay, thanks for stopping by on the show today. Stick around here on the live stream. We're gonna do one more segment here. If you're listening on YouTube, it's happy Tuesday morning to you. I'll go ahead and I'll give some closing remarks here on what we're talking about. If you know someone who's dealing with mental health issues, especially in this hobby, reach out to them, take care of them, make sure that they're doing all right. This game is supposed to be an escape from real world problems. So when it creates additional problems on top of that, it can really take away your one outlet for venting. So if somebody seems like they're acting out of character, if they're having a hard time, reach out, just check in. Hey man, how you doing? Hey, you're not alone. I hear where you're coming from. Are you doing okay? And there's another person on the other side of that message, like a real person. So let's take care of each other. If you want to say something mean, let's keep it in character and put in a role play. But if you're going to be on social media, if you're going to be on the Discord, let's try to keep it lighter. It's something that I'm guilty of as well. I want to make an effort to try to make this all a little bit more fun for everybody. And if that happens, great. That's something that I can be proud of. And if not, I get another try again tomorrow to get it right. So I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning into the Over the Top show. I'm the Sauce Boss, speaking for my good friend Jay, the handler of Samantha Vox and the Fed head of Kingdom Come Wrestling. This has been the Over the Top show. Be excellent to each other, and I'll see you down the road.